What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Skulltaker Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Skulltaker arrived at the Southern Chaos Waste where we took on both Kairos and Oshiotl, both of which his armies were destroyed without too much trouble. Kairos unfortunately was caught while in march stance, getting a little bit of that taste of his own medicine, I suppose, as we effectively teleported to him and destroyed him. And Oshiotl couldn't run from Grotrolex's glare or lighthouse either, so it all worked out nicely. The Southern Chaos Waste will probably fall fairly rapidly, as we have, well, lots of blood hosts here, plus Skulltaker himself, though admittedly we want to probably do this within the next 4 turns, as we want to get Skulltaker his retrofit and send him elsewhere, like to collect Nakari's head. There are other exalted greater demons whose heads we want, after all. I'm also tremendously amused by the fact that this army's been sitting here for the entire campaign, but I guess these guys just want to sit in the sacred pools and, well, sit there. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time, other than attack the Southern Chaos Waste for 4 turns, is continue our advance northward. The Cult of Pleasure is pretty much destroyed, with Marathi having fallen last episode and 4 settlements remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4 settlements remaining. Yeah, fair enough. And ooh, we got a mission from the Thousand Maws. Karn Blood, oh right, Karn Blood Drencher, the the totally not Khorne guy. Sure, we'll take Karn Blood Drencher. Maybe he betrayed Khorne, who knows? He might have a little story of his own. I'm also now thinking we'll probably put a vote, this episode. We'll probably put a vote below this episode. I want to know what you guys think about whether we vassalize rather Kairos, or just destroy him. I mean, the main reason to vassalize him would be for the, just thinking about the Tzeentch roster, pretty much the only thing we would want from the Tzeentch roster would be Doom Knights. Is it worth it giving up all of this territory, and I think some of this territory, just to get some Doom Knights? Do we care that much about them? I mean, don't get me wrong, Forces of Chaos do work together, sort of, occasionally, but at the same time, this is a Khorne campaign and not a Warriors of Chaos campaign, and I mean, only 1 unit from the roster. I don't know. I could go either way. I'm personally inclined to think that we should probably just destroy them to make sure that Khorne is truly ascendant. Maybe vassalize Valkia, but otherwise destroy. But anyway, it's up to you guys. I'm going to put it in a vote down below, so let me know. In the meantime, let's get started on the whatever it is we have to do this turn. So, Skulltaker, you, by the looks of it, cannot reach the Sinhal Monolith. Well, not a big deal. We'll head on over anyway. I guess we could go into rating stance. See how much we get for rating here. 135, okay, so basically nothing. Okay, just get as close as you can then. Oh, I waste the time. What about you? Can you reach the Demon's Gate? Similarly, no. Everybody needs a little bit of extra movement range, eh? Let's get you here. Raid a little bit, and we'll hit the Demon's Gate next turn as well, like so. Alright, and Halfdeer Nightbane, you've been around for a while, you've defeated Marathi, and yes, we're working on those skull cannons for you, buddy. I mean, maybe it's nice to have an army and then switch out the army type after a while, because that way this particular lord gets to try out various things, which ain't too bad of a thing either. You should... I just want to double check here what we're missing. Wait... Our Marauders of Khorne, or Marauder Horsemen of Khorne, oh, they're an overwhelming stampede, and then all of the range stuff is there as well, meaning you're fine. Let's max out Hellforged Engines with 1 point, and then let's start going through your own tree. Brutal Charge, and then into whatever defensive upgrades we can get you. You can also... you know what, we'll send the Wrathful Feasters down to Scarpel's Lair, which will allow us to sack or raise Tyrant Peak, and then move back to the ancient city of Quintex. So auto-resolve this, and we will... I'm gonna say skull it up. Let's skull it up. Gleaming Pennant, sure. Agent of Blood, a little bit more useful, but I believe we already have one on Halfdeer. Yes we do. But all the other armies will need them. You can then proceed right to the edge of... I guess we want to go to Sulfuret, so go into March stance right here. Also gonna need to channel your magic a little bit. And, oh! Actually, I don't need to do it that way, because we can probably send the Doom Reavers over to Iron Spike. And, ooh, Scar Bloodwrath, you're supposed to join Half-Deer here. Okay, 1 second. And... really? We can win this. Okay, fine, I'm just gonna... I'll auto-resolve it, but with another army. Let's say... who's the stronger force? Does it matter? I guess it doesn't really matter. But let's get you. You're gonna move in to reinforce, and then you... Can you raid? But it looks like you can. So go to the ancient city of Quintex, begin raiding. We'll... oh, okay, there we go. That's a little better, raiding-wise. 630. Skulltaker, what was the 100 and whatever? I guess Skulltaker has no time for raiding when he should be collecting skulls, and you know what? That's fair. That's fair. You can... I forgot to check whether this place was sackable or raisable or whatever. Well, I guess we're gonna skull it up again. Because I don't want to spend 2.5k skulls, it'll just come back, right? Yes, we have Sulfur Reds here, so we're fine. Crown of Command, sure, that's like our 5th or 6th Crown of Command. We certainly don't need that many. And Scar, you are supposed to join this army. Granted, this army is currently holding way too many heroes, but they're here to level up. They're not here to stick around, essentially. We were always going to get rid of these Marauders of Khorne, so we'll replace one with the Scar Bloodwrath. Let's say they coalesced, like the Emperor, into one very, very angry individual. Just like the Emperor. Anyway, let's do that. Scarborough Bloodwrath won't be staying in this army. He'll be going into this army, which we'll get to him shortly. Crimson Beasts. You are looking for islands, sort of. And at the same time, we want you to find factions to teleport to. Bell Cargo. Alright, we'll see. I keep doing that to these blood hosts, and then all 3 of you are gonna land at the Godless Crater. Don't worry, it won't be godless for long. Like so, and then we'll do that. I want to keep these guys relatively close to each other just in case these guys come out and play. I doubt it, but why risk it? Bone Legion. You are probably going to get attacked by the Unicursal Ketchitsune. Unfortunately, you're a regular blood host. That said, it is a full stack. What do we have in Mount Adhel? Ooh, nice sack value, though. What's the likelihood we win this? It really depends on what is exactly in the army. I don't wanna leave these guys to sack Mount Adhel. That's the thing, because it's money that we could be using for ourselves. So we're gonna resolve this, and it'll do a lot of damage, but we will take the money and sacrifice them, or we could raise it for the Skull Throne for 5,000 skulls. I think we need the money more right now, since we're losing a fair bit of it. At least until Skulltaker makes more. Alright, so sack this. Gambler's Armor, not bad. And you got Plunderer, but you won't have it for long. Head to Unicursal. Let's see what we got here. Close Defeat. They have the weird spawn. That's going to be a problem. That's a lot of Marauders of Tzeentch. It's also a lot of Exalted Pink Horrors, which are good enough in melee to be able to fight the Flesh Hounds without being destroyed by them. That said, I think if nothing else, even if this is the last fight of the Bone Legion, they can probably cause severe damage to this army and make it non-viable, so that's what we'll do. Go. Alright, I always enjoy the little recitation of names. Anyway, here we go. We've got a fairly decent stack against us. They outnumber us and out-troop quality us, at the very least, in terms of their Exalted Pink Horrors, which are Tier 3 units. I think the only Tier 3 unit we have should be the Skull Cannon. Everything else is Tier 2, and yes, that includes the Blood Shrines. As I learned recently, Blood Shrines are only a Tier 2 unit as well, which a little bit surprising, as they're pretty decent at racking up the kills while supporting your main line, but I suppose, considering the fact that they become relatively unnecessary in the roster, and due to the fact that you could just use Blood Reapers on the Blood Throne instead, there doesn't seem to be that much of a purpose. I don't know. Anybody know of a reason to actually use the blood shrines over the heroes on the same mount? Seems like it's the necromancer issue where you could just use the necromancers on corpse carts rather than bothering with the corpse carts themselves, especially as you have capacities. Obviously, the Blood Reapers don't benefit from the red line buffs, but their own, skill points make them much, much stronger anyway. So, yeah. I think what they should do is similar to what SFO does for skull cannons, which gives them 4 units rather than the 1, is what they could probably do is put multiple units in the blood shrines, make them a tier 3, give them like 3 at least. And that way they can sort of mince infantry a little bit faster than the Blood Reapers, and thus you might have a better reason to actually bring them. But anyway, I digress. Here we go. The battle starts. We annoy the enemy as much as possible, specifically their spear lines, with our ranged firepower. Mostly because the spear lines are actually likely to hold for a fairly long time. They're 43 melee defense and barrier, and at the very least the range units, other than the Exalted Pink Horrors, we should be able to deal with our Flesh Hounds. Speaking of the Flesh Hounds, they're deployed in sort of the flanks and sort of down the middle, and it's not yet clear where we're going to send them, depending on how exactly the enemy army moves towards us. In the meantime, just trying to loose all the skulls from our skull cannon in order to use up all its ammunition before it heads into melee. There we go, another shot, and this one will go completely wide, unfortunately. But oh well. As we know, they're not particularly accurate. And I guess that's another reason why having 4 of them in a single line or a single unit is significantly better. And another shot. This one does seem to have hit a few blue horrors, but it's time for the battle to well and truly be joined. The skull cannon's out of ammunition, and it's going to barrel through the enemy lines. And there we go. By the looks of it, it'll actually cause a few of the stray shots from the pink and blue horrors to hit their own units. And the idea is, obviously, the pink and blue horrors are going to have a tough time in melee against the skull cannon, so while it's out of ammunition, it can certainly distract them. There we go, our Blood Reapers in, taking on those horrors. And doing the same exact thing. The idea is to distract as many of the range units as possible, while our Bloodletters do as much fighting as they can. Obviously, in a melee, the Bloodletters will win against the Horrors, but as to whether they will win against the sheer numbers of enemy spears, it remains to be seen. Over on the right flank is where we committed almost all of our fast movers. Our Flesh Hounds and our Furies have surrounded and are killing all the Exalted Pink Horrors as fast as they can. We're taking a little bit of damage ourselves, of course, but it's worth it to make sure that these guys are knocked out of the fight as soon as possible. And it does seem to be working reasonably well. Out here, our Skull Cannon, together with our Blood Reaper, still working on those chromatic aberrations here. And we're going to move in some of those Bloodletters to help out. All this time, all this fighting, of course, the enemy lord has been dropping spells upon us, both the Piercing Doom, Searing Doom, and the Gehenna's Golden Hounds. It looks like the Furies here between the Searing Doom and the fighting of the Pink Horrors, which are decent in melee, or the Exalted Pink Horrors, which are decent in melee, are going to melt away. The bounce power remains in the enemy's favor at about 70% in theirs, and we are losing droves of units. Here in the big blob, our Bloodletters are having a little bit of a tough time. Enemy pops a Gehenna's Golden Hounds, and the weird spawn run through it, pretty much ignoring it because it's not going to damage them, and we're going to have to back off as much as possible so the Gehennas don't move into our lines. Though if they move into the Pink Horrors, I wouldn't complain. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be up to our Herald of Khorne to deal with that weird spawn unit. I'm so used to SFO that I keep thinking that the weird spawn should be a single unit rather than however 8 or 12 or whatever it is. Anyway, over on the flanks, we're still doing the same thing, just trying to keep those Pink Horrors from firing off a shot. Looks like these Flesh Hounds are pretty much done because they're having a tough time finding the Exalted Pink Horrors once again. But at least they stopped them from firing. We'll leave the Blood Shrine to distract them and back off our Flesh Hounds and do a little bit of charging, cycle charging, and a little bit of running down any mortal units that have survived. Flesh Hounds and Bloodletters alike still continue working on the chromatic aberrations, which have been holding for a fairly long time. Gonna bump up our damage a little bit with our melee attack a little bit with that Horn of Khorne. I didn't realize it was Horn of Corn. It's funny. And then continue on to those darn weird spawn, which are still holding, but their HP is very much dropping at this point. And the balance of power is still in the enemy's favor, but only at about 60% now, very slightly climbing in ours. Both armies are very much depleted in terms of the number of units. A lot of the demonic units on both sides have melted away, though the enemy continues to drop spells. Another Gehenna's Golden Hounds will hit the biggest blob of units that we have that are still trying to deal with the pink horrors and the spawn. Fortunately, by the looks of it, the last spawn will drop and this unit has been destroyed, but just as it does, the enemy hits us with another Searing Doom right in the middle of our formation. That said, that brings our balance of power very, very slightly in our favor. This unit of Bloodletters just barely holding on, completely surrounded by spears and blue horrors. And will melt away, but so will the blue horrors that they were attacking. Looks like we managed to get a few skulls back on our skull cannon. We'll fire them into the Tzeentch and spears. Come on, Tzeentch, I thought you liked fire. There we go, okay, decent accuracy that time. Of course, the enemy formation isn't as blobby as we'd have it, but I suppose it doesn't matter, as at last, the enemy lord, I guess, ran out of spell work, or ran out of winds of magic, and all of his units have been destroyed, and with that, the battle is ours. Extremely close. All of our bloodletters, except this unit, are gone. All of our flesh hounds are severely damaged, all of our furies are gone. A little bit of less than half HP on our Lord as well. A very nice fight. And the enemy Lord won't land and will just melt away in the sky. That was fun, and just beautiful. I know that some of you guys don't like the Blood Host fights as much as the main fights, but where else are you gonna get such close frickin' battles? We lost nearly our entire army doing that. It was so close, completely down to the wire. The enemy's spell support was really hindering our efforts there, and we barely managed to pull off a Pyrrhic victory. Whereas, let's face it, if Skulltaker or Halfdeer took this army would have been nothing, and we've gotten like 5 losses compared to actually having to work for our win. And Khorne loves a good fight, not just an easy fight. So I guess we could take the skulls or the money. The thing is, this Blood Host is no longer viable to fight again anyway, so it's not a big deal what we do. Let us go for, I'm gonna say, the skulls, especially if we will want to raise another Blood Host. And I guess you should be able to chase this. Oh, can we steal items from these guys or no? Drillmaster, sure. Torment Blade, free, sure. And these guys revived a little bit. They'll probably die to the auto-resolve, but it hardly matters anymore. Yeah, whatever. All good. They actually all came back from the auto-resolve. That's kind of funny. Heal them up for 2%. Bone Legion, and, well, you don't need to go here. Chaos Warshrine for Jarek Black Raider. Good for him? Okay. You will want to go, I guess, this way? It doesn't really matter which way we go. We're landing here at the Godless Crater. If anything, I would really like to take it without needing to have Skulltaker deal with it, because he'd rather go this way. We have a limited time to make a lot of headway in the Southern Chaos Waste before we have to teleport out. And search for more skulls, since we got Kairos's. Anyway, Skulltaker. Now, that was the Lord defeated, so you should be able to attack these guys. I guess the question is, do we attack the Sinhal Monolith directly? Well, as long as we make sure that we execute in Tyro here, we should be able to attack it directly without him running away. So, we're gonna fight again in a second. I just want to see what other moves we have. Valnir Dahl. Alright, so since we teleported to the Southern Chaos Waste, I've had a little bit of a change of heart in how we're gonna do things. We're gonna send cultists this way. We're gonna send first back this way. Valnir, you're gonna pick up the Silent, and we're actually going to meet up here at Grey Rock Point, wherein we will retrofit with Halfdeer, and I guess maybe try to teleport Skulltaker up to the Heralds of Ariel, which will mean probably declaring war on the Heralds of Ariel. The other option would be to teleport to Wolf One, which we will do, but, you know, teleporting up here would also be good. And it would give us their defeat rate, which, as somebody said in the comments, is apparently 20% casualty or punishment rate. Because if that's the case, that's an insanely good defeat rate. And we'll probably actually want it on multiple lords. Skulltaker actually has the easier time of healing up his army. See, Half-Tier is nowhere near to full healing, so he could very much use it. Certainly something to think about. And, oh, I forgot about this little skull pile. It's only 83 skulls, but pick it up. Who would say no to a free skull pile? Not I. Who's the real monster here? Anyway, you're going to go march stance up here. Did we? Okay, yeah. I was wanting to double check whether we actually colonized something. You can raid for the turn. Oh. There you go. You can raid this for the turn. I guess you can't raid the Witchwood, although it would probably be... Well, you know what? Go here. Maybe raid Witchwood for a turn. You guys aren't suffering from the Bloodthirst yet, and I'd like to get an actual lord up here in order to take advantage of the... that defeat trade, which I'm particularly excited about. Terror Masters, you're still looking for islands, but I also want to see what's going on at the Shrine of Cain, because the Shrine of Cain has that post-battle loot faction-wide, which is something that we want, and I won't say no to the recruit rank +1 either, so it's certainly something we could grab. I don't think the Sword of Cain has been drawn, but considering this is a tier 2... Maybe we want to wait for it to upgrade so that these guys draw the Sword of Cain, and as soon as they do, send the Skulltaker their way. That's certainly a possibility. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to do was, I think, Sea Corpse is a fight? Remnants of Battle is not a fight. I think Sea Corpse is, but let's double check. And the... Ooh, Renown of Fear, yes. And the thing I wanted to do here is, regardless of the degree of fighting, I want to try out those Skull Reapers fast as we can. So let's see if it is. Level you up. And... Moment of Truth. Yes, it is a fight. Loot the Carcass. Oh, the one time they don't have a Rotting Leviathan. I know it's a little low casualties, but it's been a while. I want those Skull Reapers. I want to see them debut in just a small fight, so that's what we'll do. Go.
Let the rage flow within you, for this is what KHORNE desires most of all.
Alrighty, here we go. The debut of the Skull Reapers units should be pretty nice. Those are some big old skull racks on their back as well. I guess if they keep running hunched over like this at the enemy, they could potentially impale somebody on those big old, well, skull racks, candelabra things, whatever. Skulldelabra? I don't know. Anyway, we got a big old melee line in this army. Obviously, this isn't really an army in the sense that we're just toting these units around to get them to other armies in order to start those armies on their merry way, but I suppose in this case it'll work. The enemy army will simply get surrounded by the sheer number of units that we have, assuming that they don't get too many shots off and heavily damage our units. We do have decent armor on the Skull Reapers with their buffs at 78, at least 18 more. And hopefully we can get a little bit more via other means as we level them up. That's why we'll want to feed probably 4 cultists in this army, 2 maybe on the shrines, and then 2 maybe on foot or on mounts, just to be able to fight the enemy. And ooh, hello, we've got Skull Reapers versus halberd wielding depth guard here. I guess it would have been a more even contest in the sense that, well, and more even contest if it were the Depth Guard with the dual axes, but look at that. The charge of the Depth Guard with polearms actually does significantly more damage to the Skull Reapers than the Skull Reapers did to them, which is kind of interesting. I wonder why this is. Might be some hidden traits, because the Skull Reapers have higher weapon strength, they have anti-infantry, whereas the Depth Guard with polearms have anti-large. They have 44 charge, where the enemy has 24 charge. They have a little bit less armor, a lot more attack. Every single stat, even speed, is higher. So why did they take half their HP and damage, whereas the Depth Guard did not? It can't be faster attack, because Depth Guard are slow attackers. Huh. This is really interesting. If anybody can explain to me what happened there, I'd be really interested to hear your theories on it. Anyway, while that unit is having a little bit of a tough time against the elite depth guard, I mean, admittedly, depth guard are a much more elite unit than the tier 3 Skull Reapers. And probably have a much higher ceiling as well with their buff, but nonetheless, or with their buffs. And, ooh, a Tide Call right in the middle of our formation. That's the problem with having a big old infantry blob like this. This blob won't be nearly as infantry heavy once we swap some units around. We're getting there, folks, we're getting there. In the meantime, though, this battle is nearly ours. Those units that remain are getting mobbed and their skulls well reaped. And of course, we've already seen the Regiment of Renown of Wrathmongers, but we'll get more Wrathmongers to actually lead these guys into battle rather shortly. And there we go, just like that, quick little fight, but I wanted to see those guys in action for the first time. Alright, there we go. Easy little fight, but I wanted to try these guys out ASAP. And, oh damn, what the heck? 195 kills and 13.5k damage? Wow. These guys went more than twice as hard as the next most killy unit. Damn, Skull Reaper. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are the 5th unit. And I think with that performance compared to all the others, they get the name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Skull Reapers. Let's see what we got in terms of our Skull Reaper names. Let's go for Frenzied Reapers. There we go. Alright, gotta remember not to delete them. Chaos Steed for... Oh, now they get their Chaos Steeds. And we got that 8k as well. Anyway, since we're going to meet at Grey Rock Point instead, I think there's no real need to meet up at the Galleon's Graveyard, at least not at the current time, as it would be probably a waste of our time. Let's then go this way, and then down the coastline. We got 4 turns to meet up with Skulltaker before he teleports. Alright, who's up next? Well, Skulltaker is going to want to fight. And... we'll probably want to raise the Sinhal Monolith because it doesn't have anything, and at the same time it's a tier 1 as well. Oh, it's probably also not worth much in terms of raising. Maybe some skulls? We shall see. Actually, speaking of skulls, and the throne thereof, we have Bread and Bloodshed, which gives us recruit and global recruitment duration. Ooh, no, let's go Dissipation's Domain. Khorne Corruption and chance to automatically colonize ruins increased. We are certainly making use of that right now. We got a massive pile of ruins up, not here, up here, and we're probably gonna get a few more as we go, so, yeah. Alright, next... And there's probably a few other things we want to do. We'll save the Unholy Manifestation, because I don't really see a need for it, as it feels like a waste. Gerald Black Raider, you are doing 2 things. First of all, you're getting your cavalry equivalent units, which are going to be the Blood Beasts of Khorne. We'll need 4 of those, which leaves us room for 3. That's 2 cultists to provide support in addition to you, as we want 3 war shrines to support the very fragile Forsaken. And we will want 2 heroes, I guess. Oh, 1 exalted hero. 2 cultists, 1 exalted hero, yes. What would it cost to globally recruit these guys? 4 turns anyway. I was wondering if we could save turns and get this guy going. Slaneshi giggle. Okay, do we have any exalted hero capacity? I see Blood Reapers. I see cultists. Alright, I guess we'll start with the cultists then. Let's go cultist 1 here. I mean, everybody's gonna need cultists, but yeah. Alright, ooh, we should also double check our lords. We are still waiting for a exalted, or a chaos lord with a good trait. Like unearthly reflexes, for example, but on a lord rather than a blood speaker. That's fine. Skinnerath, you will continue recruiting, but that's going to wait until next turn, I suppose. Yeah. Alright, you're fine as you are. Anybody else need to do anything? Scout, you are still looking for Arbol.
In time, not yet.
And I haven't checked diplomacy in a while. I want to double check how Scarbrand is doing. in terms of confederating him. It's actually doing reasonably well. He's taken Camry minus 64. It's better than minus 89 or whatever it was last episode or the previous episode or the episode before. I know I just said that I didn't check it in a while, but maybe I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I dreamt it. A vision from KHORNE. Anyway, Skulltaker to the Sin Hall Monolith. Let's rack up that money count, favor count, whatever it is. Close victory, eh? I mean, they certainly have some stuff. Oh, that's why. The blue scribes are in. And we have no way to knock them out of the sky, which means they'll be spamming spells all day. Acold Hellbrass? Oh, yes. I didn't even realize Acold Hellbrass was here. Oh, that'll be a nice duel between these two. I wonder if we can do damage to the blue scribes with the Hellforged Bellowers. I guess we're going to have to find out or lose half our army to their spell spam. Go.
I see you itching to kill. I will not hold you back. Go! Spill blood!
Huh, I'm not sure I've heard that one before, or if I did, I've forgotten it. Anyway, here we go. A very, very nice stack, and an even nicer stack if we consider the fact that the enemy has reinforcement. But they've got Acold Hellbrass, they've got a Sorcerer Lord, and they've got the Blue Scribes on field as well. I'd say it's probably better and certainly more threatening than Kairos' army was, especially since we caught poor Kairos out in March stance when we did. I guess Christmas done come early for KHORNE, or, well, I guess Christmas comes right on time. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, etc., etc. But as I was saying, it's always a holiday for KHORNE when he's, when his minions are taking skulls. Anyway, in the meantime, we are doing this in various ways. You fast movers, or not all the fast movers, but the heavy-hitting, armored fast movers. Skyla and Fengrim will lead the Blood Crushers, and Blood Beasts, the Blood Shrine, and the Blood Reapers. The word has lost all meaning. Into the fray as fast as possible. This enemy army has a lot of range units, and we want to stop them from firing as soon as possible. Our Skull Cannon, rather than focusing the enemy infantry as it usually does, is going directly for the Blue Scribes and trying to prevent them from casting too much, while our Bloodletters slowly bring up the rear. Our units of Fleshhounds are going to wait a little bit to get onto the enemy's left flank, but we're hoping that we can dish out plenty of damage on the right flank with our other heavy hitters instead. And of course, Skulltaker is being a menace in the background. The Chaos Lord has fought him for a few seconds, lost his barrier, lost 15% of his HP, and is now backing off. Skyla Anfinrim continues to move forward and is forcing the enemy to fight as well as he causes that rampage with his explosion ability. And between the Blood Reapers and the splash damage coming in from the Blood Crushers and the Blood Beasts, it looks like those units that we're fighting here are having a particularly bad time. Its Blue Scribes are down to about half HP, and it looks like Skull Reaper has found a Acold Hellbrass, who has some incredibly flashy moves, but I'm not sure that those flashy moves are going to be sufficient to deal with something like Skulltaker, who is pretty crazy stat-wise. Over on the left flank, our Bloodletters are moving in as well, though they are taking a lot heavier damage here than than our units were on the right flank, since our heavy hitters are also the more resistant units to range damage. These Bloodletters down below half HP, and we're moving as quickly as we can to get our Fleshhounds into the fray. Of course, they will take range damage themselves, but they will also stop all of these units from firing as needed. There we go. Pink Horrors is stopped, more Pink Horrors stopped, and we are going to have to back away these Bloodletters, who are now very severely hurt at 30%. Hopefully the Relentless Rage will keep him alive long enough. In the meantime, Acold Hellbrass has been defeated and sent flying. That's got to be adding insult to injury. And by the looks of it, has been destroyed. The Blue Scribes have been knocked out of the sky by the Hellforged Bellowers, and, well, the Reinforcement Lord is approaching, but he's by himself, and by the looks of it, it's just not going to be enough. Alright. Unfortunately, our army has too many fast movers for this type of army to deal with, and in melee, once we close the distance, we obviously have the advantage. Plus, a lot of our units have plenty of spell resistance now, so it's really missile resistance that we need. Our bloodletters here only have 10% missile resistance, and their massive 55% physical is useless against other demons, which is unfortunate. Solid 65% spell resistance, and I think there's a few other... There's a few other traits that have spell resistance. I'm just trying to remember. I think there's a few other lords that offer spell resistance. I'm just not sure whether it's to the army or to individual lords. Drajoath, I think, gives physical resistance to the lord, I want to say, or was it spell resistance? I will try to look into that if I remember. I remember Ungrim offers a bunch of resistances all at once, but obviously to the Lord and not the army. But it's the army that I'm more concerned about, i.e. about our bloodletters being relatively fragile and lacking missile resist. Anyway, that went quite well. Alright, there we go, and the Hellforged Bellowers continue bellowing/bailing us out as they were able to knock out the Blue Scribes, who were unable to cause too much destruction to us. I also didn't check what level they were, so I don't know what spell capabilities they had here, but I'm sure they had something available to them. We did take severe damage on one of our regular? They're really leggy. The regular units of Bloodletters, but ultimately it doesn't matter because, again, we're looking to retrofit this army with Exalted Bloodletters. 760 skulls and 12k favor, pretty nice there. Damage-wise, it looks like one of the non-exalted ones took the high kill count, though perhaps not the damage count, as it would probably be another unit like the Heralds of Khorne's Fury, which got a little bit more, and the Brutes of Ferocity once again. I'm kind of impressed with the amount of damage that the Blood Beasts have been dishing out, if nothing else. We are going to... I guess we either skull it up or sack it. We don't need to occupy... Oh, damn, I didn't check. Do we need to occupy? Damn it. You know what? Sack it, because I don't remember. And we can have a blood host occupied as well, I suppose. I don't know if it's in the province. It's in part of a province that we already have. We have Grotrolex's Lighthouse, but I don't remember if it's part of the Sinhal Monolith province or not. I think it's... Wait, I think it is, meaning we can skull it. Another crown of... Okay, seriously, we have like 6 crowns of command. Okay, every single unit in the demonic army is going to use a crown of command. Or, alternatively... Okay, yeah, that was the right move. Alternatively... I'm going to make this a dimensional breach. We need more exalted hero capacity. And more cultist capacity. What about here? Do we have iron anywhere? I'm just wondering whether to make this place mortal or whether to make this place demonic. Sinhal Monolith. Demons. Okay, this place sounds demonic to me. We'll make it demonic. Unless... Wait. What does this obsidian do for us? Recruitment cost for demonic and... there it is. Alright, well that answers that. Dimensional breach it is in Grotrolex's Galera Lighthouse. Skulltaker. The question for you, my friend, is going to be, are you needed here, or can the blood hosts handle all this? It'll all completely depend on how they handle the godless crater. I'm going to assume that they can deal with it without you, and if they can't, well, we'll send somebody else to clean up the mess. You know what, if they can't, we'll have Skulltaker raise a few more. You know what, head into... Wait. How's our healing here? Yeah, pretty good. We'll raise a few more blood hosts here if these guys fail to take it themselves. Oh, I guess one potential problem is if Rakarth moves down there and takes it for us. But anyway, I believe that's all we gotta do movement-wise. Let's check those buildings. Mosquito Swamps, we start with you. Let's get that cultist capacity up and running. River Curveza, yes to the gold it eats, mostly because it gives us upkeep production. You are still gonna take a little bit. It's a really nice landmark though, so we definitely want to prioritize that. Maybe I should have built some growth buildings here, but our growth is pretty okay now that we have that technology that bumps it up. We could do another cultist building, but you know what? We need some more exalted hero capacity, so we'll start with the Jugger plant. You gotta plant some Juggers. Alright. Spina Sotek, Thrice Cursed Peak, yes. Infernal Citadel. How's our money? 52k, okay. Demonic building here, and then more of these post-battle loot buildings. Fuming Serpent, yes to the Hellport, and yes to the... You have capacity for one, either Jugger Plant or Cultist, and generally speaking, wherever I can, I like to say Cultist is the better pick. Although we have some capacity for Cultists and no capacity at all for Exalted Heroes. You know what, let's start with the Exalted Heroes here. Jugger Plant it up. Alright, Jungles of Pawalasha. Swamp Town is ours now, so we'll mortal it. The Jungle of Webs will keep up the demonic thing. Like so. Titan Peaks. Corn admin is so easy in the sense that you don't really have to think about what you're doing. Are we going mortal here or immortal? Wait, well, there's an obsidian here, meaning it's a demonic location. Meaning I should make you demonic. Unless this does something for mortals. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, I'm just gonna double check that this does nothing for mortals. No. And this does nothing for mortals. No, it's recruitment cost for demonic units. Alright, demonic units it is. Switch you to demonic then. Alright, and we want to take you a tier 4. Ooh, I'm excited about having it a tier 4. Alright, the Capes. Citadel of Dusk. You're particularly demonic, so keep going in that light. And then that vein, rather. Trophy Rex, Isthmus Coast. Skeggy. We'll start with you, I guess. Skeggy feels mortal to me because it's an outpost of Norskins. And we'll have maybe just enough money if we don't bankrupt ourselves doing something else. So for us, we could upgrade. You know what? Let's not risk that. A little bit of it. You know what? I'm going to delete the War Amphitheater here just in case for a tiny little extra bit of cash. A little bit of influx. And I think that's it. Meaning we can skip, we can pop a Commandment Monuments of Rage for the extra growth, another Commandment Monuments of Rage for the extra growth and construction reduction. Now we can end the turn. Yes. Alright. Wait. No. End the turn. I wanted to check whether we should take a mission from our Dark Elf friends, but I don't believe we need to. Kairos not liking us very much, wants that peace treaty after having many of his armies destroyed. Not all of them, of course, I'm sure, considering how powerful his faction is. But then again... hopefully we don't just completely destroy him by the end of this episode, because I still wanted to hold that vassalization vote. The thing is, if we take his capital, he'll probably never recover, and even if we do want Doom Knights, we might never be able to get them by that light. Sacrifice to Mathland, campaign movement range for the Crimson Beasts. Sure, Nakari is standing around by himself with... What are you doing, Nakari? Campaign movement range. Drawn to destruction, lovely. Just out of curiosity, you can't land here, can you? Who owns the Shrine of Cain? Alright, I'm gonna land here. I want to see what Nakari does. Oh my, okay. Tyrion, Alistar, Thanlutlin, they're all hunting poor Nakari. You better not destroy him. His skull... Oh, he only has 2 settlements left. Skulltaker. Alright, Terra Masters, hang around. Don't do anything. These guys might attack us, but we'll see. I think we're gonna remain... Okay, we're gonna maintain vision here. First, you're gonna go here instead then. Cultist, you're gonna stay... Actually, no, go to Athalor and set up a cult there. First, you are going up here. We're gonna need to maintain vision of Tyrion and Alistar and all of them. You are going to go up north, where we will hopefully meet up with Skulltaker shortly. And everything else is fine. Look at all that champion's essence. Alright, Skulltaker. 'Tis a new turn and a new day. You are proceeding to the Demon's Gate, which you, by the looks of it, just can't reach. By a teensy bit, unless there's a lord that we can execute. I mean... Oh yeah, we can't sack Ancient City of Quintex because we want to take it a tier 4, meaning we can't do anything about that. Scarpel's Lair, you can skull it out. It's worthless. I'll just raise it anyway, I think. I don't want to waste 2.5k skulls on this, it'll colonize itself anyway. Let us... That's probably worthless to raise a blood host here as well. Skulls for the skull throne, I guess. So, and oh, a rat. Clan Gritus. How did you guys pop up? And oh, are they rebels? I take it they're rebels. It just says Clan Gritus. It doesn't say Clan Gritus rebels, but I assume that they are rebels. Anyway, Half Deer, you're moving to ancient city of Quintex, so you are going to keep on raiding, and yes, it's going to harm you because you're suffering blood host attrition now, but it's definitely worth it for 2 turns. The Doom Reavers, I think you are more or less done, but we'll just move you in here. Not super necessary, but we'll do it anyway, and then you don't have the range to go where you need to go, so just move in their territory. It's not like they can attack us or escape this. Escape this blockade that we got going on. Alright. Ooh, Sisters of Twilight. Damn, there's so many places to teleport, so many skulls to take. I feel Khorne's pain. Or Khorne's pleasure, depending on how you look at it. I mean, there's so many skulls to take and so little time. You guys stay raiding. I want to see if the Sisters of Twilight attack us, but I want to see... We got one more turn to win a battle, so we're good for now. If I go here, I was going to send you to raid the Witchwood. I want to see if these guys actually try to attack us. I do imagine they don't like us very much. Go figure. But for now, anyway. Crimson Beasts. We'll start with... Oh. Bell Cargo is a fight. You know what? If it has a Rotting Leviathan... Maybe we don't bother with that, but what if it has materials at sea? It's worth so much. This is tempting. Anyway, you 3 are gonna land here. And you're probably gonna get... One of you is probably gonna get ambushed, but that's fine. Can't kill you all, I think. And oh, Rakarth's got... No, oh, damn. I may have made a mistake in... This guy's a full stack here. He's right at the edge of our range. Okay, wait. Is there a way to do this? To beat Rakarth here. If we send you back, you're gonna take probably too many turns. He's gonna land most likely next turn. Need to get here, which we can also not do in 1 turn. Huh. Rakarth, don't make Skulltaker kill you. We have 3 turns until teleportation, so that won't work either. Well, darn. Alright, wait, we also need to double check whether there's a lord we could defeat for Skulltaker's movement range. We don't have the Skull Throne available to us to, get his, replenish his movement range for a while as yet. We could occupy Mount Adhal, but that'll just make this guy move. You know what, maybe with this guy there... you know what? Go into ambush stance. Maybe with this guy here... No, if we go into ambush stance, then he'll move towards the Godless Crater, and that's not what we want either. Huh. In fact, these 2 armies might attack us here, because these 2 are in range of each other, but all 3 won't reinforce each other. Well, you know what? I guess we'll see. Can't just keep guessing, just gotta keep going. Scarlet Hunters, I guess you're going to hit this. Skulltaker, you're gonna reinforce, so that'll allow us an auto-resolve. And this place is a tier 3, so we could occupy it at tier 2 and keep some stuff. In theory. Depending on how much it's worth. 11k, it's not bad. And we do need the money. Fine. Maybe we'll sack it. Hey, these guys are coming back, and Fate Weaver's Crevasse is their capital. Auto-resolve. Yeah, Skulltaker's army is fine. And we will... sack it and occupy it. Need the cash more than the skulls right now. Sack, and stop. Okay. Sack, and Berserker Sword, Ranger Standard, and occupy. Like so. Oh, lovely. Alright, and we got to keep the obsidian, which is the main thing we wanted to keep here, which includes that spell resistance. It's not much, but it's getting there. And keep up the demonic building. Skulltaker, you... a little bit of movement range, so you're going to go to the edge of this territory, and we're going to threaten Fate Weaver's Crevasse. Which will be the deciding factor whether we vassalize these guys. They do want peace, but they don't want vassalage. We'd have to probably... Oh, huh. Vassalizing might not even be possible. What we could do is we could take Fate Weaver's Crevasse and trade it back to them, thereby vassalizing them. But I think the problem with this is that if we take Fate Weaver's Crevasse at tier 3 or 2, then once again they'll just never recover. This is their main settlement. It'll take them so long to build up another presence. Probably never get those Doom Knights. And we do have the air potential out of the Black Dragons, Feral Manticore, Charybdis, and Warhydra, out of the Dark Elves here, so they probably are giving us the better thing for our buck. But anyway, Crimson Beast, I'll deal with you in a second. Bone Legion, you are stuck where you are. You know what? Go into raiding. At least something. Feels weird when they don't do anything. You go here. Can we raise cultists in this territory? No, just here. What do we have here? Strong? I'll take it. We needed 2 cultists here, and that's 2 cultists for you. This army is almost complete, just missing that exalted hero now, and we have terrible, terrible exalted heroes. None of you. I don't like any of you at all. Diabolic Splendor, Leadership Aura, I guess. I don't even know if these guys have a Leadership Aura bonus. Wait. Like, let me just see them for a second. I also don't want to mill through them for too long because, you know, just don't feel like it. Do you have any... No, they have leadership for themselves. They don't have leadership character aura bonuses. Wait. If we get Chaos Commander on them, that's another 25% leadership aura size, meaning this guy's personal leadership aura would be all over the entire sort of battlefield. Might not be horrible. I guess the problem is wherever the cultists can reach, I assume that the cultists do have something. Oh, they also have Indomitable. No character or leadership size? Or, there it is, character or leadership effect, but that's only if we get kill for Khorne, but that is another supporting passive, and that's probably what we want to do. You're not a demonic army, so we don't need Demons Reforged here. Whatever. Whatever, just get that exalted. It's not a big enough deal. I feel like I sometimes go a little bit overboard on trying to get good traits, so let's do that.
Exalted hero of Khorne.
And that exalted hero is going to be that army's sort of assassin, because obviously the 3 cultists, well, 2 cultists and a bloodspeaker on a shrine won't be able to fight. Anyway, you can keep recruiting. You are going to recruit 2 Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons. Like so. Okay, what increases our local recruitment capacity? Do we need a... you know what? Switch to kill for Khorne. I'm gonna forget it, but switch to it for a turn. And then... Wait, that increases the local recruitment capacity. I'm just wondering whether we could build the other 2 Gore Beast chariots. I would like to complete this army, and it's nearly there. You know what? Oh, these guys only take the 1 turn anyway. Yeah, you know what, build those. We're gonna replace 2 of them. Oh, let's do 2 Chosen and then 2 regular Chaos Warriors just for slight variety. Alright, you're recruiting now. Anybody else need to do anything? No, it's the army I've been avoiding, isn't it? Okay, fine. You, keep looking for Arbol. Oh, we're so close now. Next episode we'll probably find him, though as to whether he's weak enough to confederate remains to be seen. You. Let's see what we got here. And it is a battle, and it does not have a Rotting Leviathan. Oh, we can do this, and we're gonna do this because we want the, well, money, but also potentially whatever they may have. Go. Alright, here we go again, another one of these islands. Looks like the enemy has a carronade rather than a mortar this time around, and so we're going to use the hill to shield us, as the carronade is direct fire and thus cannot fire upon our infantry, and we landed all of our furies to prevent the carronade from firing upon them as well as they close the distance. Speaking of closing the distance, our first point of order here will be to prevent as many of those hand cannons from firing. Like blunderbusses, their volleys can be pretty devastating, and so we'll charge them directly with our flesh hands and then hit all the other range units with furies as well. The other order of business will be to use one of the units of flesh hands to lead away the unit of depth guard, which is the biggest threat on the field here, and by the looks of it, it's working reasonably successfully as the depth guard are attempting to chase that unit of flesh hounds off. Of course, said flesh hound unit is thus not contributing to the fight, but I imagine the enemy's single elite unit is a lot more important to their battle cohesion or their strategy here than one unit of flesh hounds is to us. Our herald has closed the distance with the enemy vampire fleet captain. All the enemy range units have been destroyed, and now it's a simple matter of mobbing what infantry units they have and just dishing out enough damage to melt them away. Does look like even with the rear charge, the fragile furies take massive amounts of damage against the zombie pirate deckhands mobs. But oh well, what can you do? We'll simply send more Furies in. And yes, we will be doing that flying army. Obviously, we don't yet have access to Bloodthirsters, and without it, Furies alone are just not really a viable army. And also, we need various techs and various things to increase their likelihood of being resurrected. Demons Reforged is what I'm getting at. Anyway, looks like the Herald has defeated the enemy lord, and now it's just a simple matter of mobbing those infantry units that remain. The depth guard's still chasing those flesh hounds, but it looks like we don't really need to worry about it anymore. A last stand of the zombies, who are surprisingly not yet melted away, considering their lord melted. Although perhaps I spoke too soon, as there they go, and it looks like with them the depth guard will actually disintegrate rather than fight. I still think this makes absolutely no sense. Some vampiric units should obviously disintegrate, or some undead units should obviously disintegrate, but depth guard are vampires, and no, they wouldn't. What are you talking about, game? I don't know why that mechanic was added to them. I mean, like, look at KHORNE. We have... It's like if Chaos Warriors of KHORNE started being banished. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. But anyway... Well, with the hill protecting us from artillery fire and those poor depth guard led away from protecting the rest of their army, as they're the main, sort of threatening unit in that army, that was no problem at all. A little bit of skulls, a little bit of money, a little bit of healing. I guess this army remained more viable than I had originally been expecting, but, well, whatever. Probably not viable enough to bother healing it, so we'll take the money instead. Alright, and let's see if we got anything good. Come on, materials, let's see, please. Recruitment cost for flesh hounds, sort of might. Another lost cargo. Well, we have this for a while now. Well, you know what? I will certainly not say no to all that extra growth. It's certainly helpful. Anyway, back down the coast. You've gone one way, go down the other line, and go down the other way. We'll go down this river. As soon as we spot Balthazar Gelt and stuff, well, maybe not as soon as, but we'll definitely go down there because we pretty much want all the defeat traits from Cathay. There's a lot of good ones that will help us out there. The rest of you are stuck where you are. There's a few points to apply, but we'll do it later. Let's do whatever cheap buildings we have / can afford. Also, do we have anything good in terms of these guys? I already checked them. Alrighty. Wait, actually, let's check the place that's the most critical, which was Oishul. We got one more turn. So close to Slaughter Brutes and Minotaurs. So close. Let's get the additional growth out of that cultist outpost and pop that trophy rack. We didn't get a lot of money this turn, so I need to be careful. Another trophy rack here, because it's cheap, but I guess we won't have the ability to upgrade anything. Another Jugger Plant? Let's go for another Jugger Plant. And what about you? Subaton will wait on you, and... Okay, we will upgrade Grey Rock Point to Demonicness, but hold on to the rest of this because I'd rather not waste money, or if we can't afford it. Capes is good, or at the very least, looks good. Sulphurettes, let's build the basic Trophy Rex, and Arnheim, let's upgrade the Infernal Harbor, but leave everything else alone. Alright, that I believe is that. So we're gonna skip unassigned skill points, building upgrades, outpost upgrade. I'm not paying for it right now, although I would like to double check how much allegiance we have. And take the ally mission. So we got Rel here, we got Rakur, and we got Hyther. Will probably be replaced by Marathi before these guys attack, so we'll go for Rakur. Alright, and Karanak will be up in, what, 4 turns? It wants a tier 4 trophy rack, so whenever we build one, whichever place that we build it at. So yeah, anyway. Add post upgrade commandment? Ah, yes, this place. Monuments of Rage. And I believe we're good. I suppose what we could also do is, frankly, I should have done this earlier, switch to kill for corn here. Not because of the recruitment cost, but because of the additional local recruitment capacity. I figured for some reason that the buildings, military buildings, would give that to us. If anything, I feel like, I mean, how does corn have so little recruitment capacity? Isn't near as that odd? Just out of curiosity, do none of the regular buildings offer it? Ah, it's in the battlefields. So, starting at tier 4. I think that's a... What's a misplay when the devs do it? They should add an easier way for corn to get a lot of recruitment. I mean, it's corn. What else is he gonna focus on? He's not gonna focus on not recruiting, right? But anyway. Kill for corn? I guess this army will... Oh, well, I guess... You know what? Undo you, and we'll do kill for corn. At least they get a little bit of extra recruitment capacity, even at the cost of a little bit of cash, but it's not like our provinces really make any money anyway, so not a big deal there. End turn. Alright. Let's see what happens with Rikarth coming down here. I'm just gonna hope that he gives up on this foolish quest, and hello. These guys did indeed attack us here. They got the Amexon barbs, they've got... Oh, that's not good. 4 solar engines. That's actually genuinely concerning. We've got lots of blood shrines. The problem is without Skulltaker and without any kind of single entity big boy threatening unit, we have no easy way to actually kill these things. We don't even have exalted bloodletters. Well, I guess it's another one of those situations where either we win or we lose and we don't care so much because it's blood hosts. Blood hosts, go. Ah, yes, I feel like they don't say blood for the blood gods, skulls for the skull throne enough, at least not for... Ooh, whoa, 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 the Pock cohort have a red and gold color scheme. These guys look great. Damn, I wish we could get these units on our in our own roster. They almost look corn corrupted, but they'd certainly fit in with our color scheme. Oh, these guys look great. But I mean, lizards have one of the best aesthetics in the game, so hardly surprising. Anyway, I'm excited for this fight. It's gonna be a big one, and is the last hurrah of the Ghosts of Pawash. If they fail here, their faction will be destroyed. That said, there's a lot of units that we may have a little bit of trouble with here, especially those dinos, of which there are way too many, and we have no units in the blood hosts to deal with them until we complete the research to get said units. So we're just going to have to try our best. The name of the game here is going to be divide and conquer, as we dish out as much damage as we can to whatever units we can, especially focusing down that Pock cohort, as it is one of the elite units. And the idea is to keep firing upon it with our skull cannons, as long as it follows. That really works out for us. There we go. One hit, one miss, but they keep moving towards us. And why do we want them moving towards us? Because we Vanguard deployed and hidden 2 units of Fleshhounds in the trees. They want to chase our fragile, vulnerable artillery pieces. But we can simply lead them to the doggos and then have the doggos destroy them. Ooh, nice shot that time around from that skull cannon. Of course, the skull cannon's fire doesn't do anything crazy to these guys, but that's alright, because not only will the Fleshhounds charge in, they'll allow the skull cannons to close the distance as well, which means recharging their skulls in melee. Best as they can, anyway. Looks like the cohort will fall fairly rapidly, surrounded by the doggos. Very nice, very nice. And that's an elite enemy unit destroyed and divided and conquered. Now, That was one unit. The enemy has way, way, way more where that came from, and the solar engines are still going to be the big threat here. That said, we can continue annoying the enemy as much as we can with those skull cannons, and with our own reinforcements having arrived, we got a third skull cannon on the field. Too bad these things have such limited ammunition, as we won't be able to do too much, but it does make sense. It is Khorne after all. Can't expect them to have crazy amount of ammo. I'm still very interested to see how the ranged army will function. We're getting there. In fact, while it will probably take a while to get soul grinders up and running, I think I'm gonna get the ranged army up and running before we do. Wait, no, actually it won't. Soul grinders are tier 4, aren't they? I don't remember. I think bloodthirsters are tier 5 and the soul grinders are tier 4. Because if they're tier 4, then we got the ranged army coming up very, very soon, since we're already working on tier 4. Anyway, skull cannons continue annoying the enemy, sending many a skull screaming into the enemy piles of skinks, and then backing off because, of course, these skinks are far too slow to catch us. The third skull cannon has joined the fray as well, and we are mustering the rest of our forces. Doggos moving towards a copse of trees on the right flank in a similar vein to those that are on the left, getting ready to loop around the enemy army or run right through them as needed, depending on how the enemy deploys their range. And well, if it isn't another unit of Red Crests that has moved away from the rest of the army, bad idea. Certainly going to take a few volleys of skulls for their trouble. But they're once again approaching these trees, and the AI just don't learn. And that's where we hid those flesh hounds right after destroying those units of Cold Run Riders. Looks like the skinks have sighted their doom and turn as the flesh hounds reach them, but the 3 skull cannons and the flesh hounds overrun them rapidly and destroy the unit. Alright, that's another unit destroyed with a strategy. Granted, out of the 40 units, it's going to take a long time to dish out sufficient damage to the enemy army like this, but hey, we've also done plenty of damage via our ranged attacks. So it ain't nothing. And we're going to speed this up a little bit as we reposition and get a few more volleys into the enemy. A nice couple of shots into the skink cohort. Very nice indeed. Granted, the regular skink cohorts aren't really a threat to anything. But the chameleon skinks, the red crests, again, the dinos, all very much so. And once again, there is the fact that the enemy pretty significantly outnumbers us in pure troop numbers. So there is that. Anyway, looks like 2 of our 3 skull cannons are now out of ammunition. The one will continue firing. Decent shots that time. You never know with their terrible accuracy when they'll actually land a shot or when they won't, but you're always pleasantly surprised when they do, so it ain't a bad thing. Looks like the enemy army is obviously annoyed and moving towards us. They do see that we have 2 units of flesh hounds here and are sending, by the looks of it, 4 units of skinks to deal with them, but fortunately, these 4 flesh hounds are hidden and should be able to run right through the enemy army. Another nice shot from those skull cannons. I keep calling the skull cannons hell cannons interchangeably. We should really try to get some hell cannons. I think after we find the... let me just think about this for a second. After we find Arbol, we should probably send a scout to the Chaos Dwarfs. And I guess the question will be, do we want to befriend the Chaos Dwarfs? Because the Chaos Dwarfs certainly have a bunch of units that we want. Unlike Kairos, I don't really care as much about Kairos' units because there's just so few of them in his roster, than the Tzeentch roster, that we sort of jive with. But the Chaos Dwarfs have a ton of units in their roster that could work with ours. And so it might be a good idea to attempt to vassalize. Maybe we could befriend one and vassalize another. It's just that there's no guarantee that we'll be able to vassalize them, you know? Like, we could teleport over there, take one of their territories, and then try to trade them back for vassalage. Kind of like we did with Rakarth, which worked out reasonably well. But Rakarth really liked us when we did that, in the sense that we were already very positive of him. So I'm not sure it is going to work the same way with the Chaos Dwarfs. Anyway, our main lines have at last clashed. The Bloodletters moving in, facing off against... Ooh, nice. Facing off... Ooh, also not nice. Solar Engine firing right back. You gotta love using those, Blood Shrines to sort of move along the entire line of the more less mass units like the Skinks, as they can disrupt so many formations. Solar engines continue firing away at us, but there isn't too much we can do about that as we have to engage everybody else. It looks like the Blessed Legion of Chakwa, or is it just Legion of Chakwa? No, it's just Legion of Chakwa. Protecting another of the solar engines, and looking absolutely fantastic as they always do. You gotta love the Legion of Chakwa and all that gold on Saurus, because these aren't Temple Guard, they are Saurus, but there's so much more golded up. It's real nice. Anyway, we've now surrounded the enemy army, and if not quite enveloped it, are preventing a lot of the enemy range units from firing. Of course, we're having a little bit of trouble with the dinos and with the enemy lords, but, well, it's just the name of the game. Our own lords are going to be hunting said enemies. There's a little bit of a duel here happening as the Herald of Khorne faces off against the Red Crest Skink Chief. And it's probably better that we got the Red Crest Skink Chief here rather than the Saurus Old Blood. As I'm sure even a level 1 Blood Host Herald of Khorne should be able to take one of these guys on, or at the very least fight relatively even with them. Anyway, the battle continues, but in the background the enemy's having a very tough time. They do still have massive numbers of units and are still able to chase our Fleshhounds around, but frankly, this battle is just a ton of micro, just running around the Fleshhounds in the background, charging, cycle charging, chasing down, etc., but then backing off rather than losing units. It's critical that we maintain those units, as obviously we need them to make sure that enemies are shattered rather than merely routed, and ideally destroyed outright. Also, we've been fighting this damn feral Basti for like, I don't know, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes straight non-stop, and it's confident and barely damaged. Once again, with the basic bloodletters, we have a lot of trouble at dealing with the big armored monster units. Ooh, I gotta give credit where it's due. Love seeing the Legion of Chakwa holding off the tide of bloodletters like that. I also like the way that the Legion of Chakwa does sort of match all the gold and the solar engines generally. Once again, lizard aesthetics, absolutely fantastic. And the Legion of Chakwa does tend to hold for quite a long time, but at last they will rout. They are not the last, however, as other units are still in the fight. All 4 or 5 of the enemy dinos are still in the fight, and while the Red Crest Skink Chief has been defeated, the other Red Crest Skink Chief is very much still in the fight. Interesting that Sheodal didn't build any Saurus Lords or Kroxigor Lords to lead his army. And they probably would have contributed a little bit more to this fight. But I suppose, considering the fact that the enemy army is composed primarily of skinks, it also makes sense, as Ashiodal probably wanted to buff said skinks with the red-crested skink chiefs. I mean, I'm obviously giving too much credit to the AI in the sense that I don't think it's aware of what it's doing and it's just coincidence, but you can explain it away like that, in that its army composition being very much skinky, it very much needed the Red Cresteds to buff them a little bit further. Anyway, it looks like, luckily for us, we don't actually need to destroy all the dinos. We did manage to bring one down the old-fashioned way. This one fought for, I don't know, 5 minutes now? 4 or 5 minutes non-stop, and heavily damaged one of our Blood Reapers, or Herald of Khorne, rather, and some of our Bloodletters as well. But at the end of the day, it did get brought down, whereas the Solar Engine ones are all still alive and will simply get chased down while the rest of the enemy army shatters. A very, very fun fight. Been having a great time down in the Southern Chaos Wastes. Can't wait to see what else we've got. We've only, I mean, we've gotten one continent, but there's still the entirety of the old world. There's the Darklands, there's Cathay, and we are absolutely invading Cathay. Don't worry, guys, there's a lot more to do in this Khorne campaign, and a lot more fun and battles to be had and armies to try. Alrighty, there we go. A really fun fight, and a damn big one add to that as well. Certainly the Blood Hosts allowed us for a very fun few fights in this particular episode as well. And this was a big enough force and threatening enough to us that we had to actually use tactics to win it. But the whole divide and KHORNE-QUER thing that we did was, ooh, that's a good title for the episode, well, it went pretty well. We got 26k damage and 18k damage on these two skull cannons, and then the one that arrived later into the game, a little bit less in the way of damage at 17k, but more kills, because I guess it was focusing more blobbed up units. Still, it went very, very nicely. Well done to the Slaughter Host and the Scarlet Reavers. We are going to... Damn, that's a lot of skulls. Okay, we'll take the skulls at 2.7k. That's better than the healing or whatever else. These armies are destroyed, and by the looks of it, this faction is done for. Just as we landed, and also, by the looks of it, we won't be needing Mr. Ricarth to help us out with any of this. Anyway, that was, unless I'm mistaken... Oh, did Ricarth? Yeah, he moved back. Good, meaning we don't have to deal with this. Ally mission successful. Another Cornate mutant. Won't say no to that. Spell shield. Enemy killed in battle. Zufbar destroyed. Why are you telling us about the Barak Var destroyed? The dwarfs are having a bad time, and ooh, Khorne Ascendant once again. Everything's coming up Khorne, I guess. Ain't it grand? Khorne, I guess, favors us for what we've been doing, and I mean, it's turn 40. We doing pretty good. Anyway, folks, we're out of time. We're very much out of time. I wasn't even gonna go anywhere near this length of this episode, but you know, time flies when you're taking skulls. I guess next episode, Jiro Black Raiders of Frenzied Spawn and Forsaken Army will be ready. I might just pop in a couple of Wrathmongers or something in here just to act as sort of like a helpful mainline, because the Forsaken are, you know, they're very fragile. Just a couple of units to make this a little bit more viable, but it'll still be a primarily Spawn and Forsaken host. And this army will probably be... Well, it actually might also be ready next episode. It's nearly there. It's just missing a few things, so nearly there as well. Khorne is Ascendant, so we'll be able to use some of the good stuff. The Nemesis Crown is being searched for, and we are waiting for it to pop up so we can grab it. Hopefully these guys will draw the Sword of Cain as well, and then we can take the Shrine. Oh, it's going to be 7 turns. Just got to make sure nobody destroys it. Does look like Nakari's fallen, but I suppose if he gets killed by mere elves, and he's not worth Skulltaker's attention, if that is indeed the case. Anyway, oh, and obviously the Cult of Pleasure will be destroyed in 1 turn as soon as this is tier 5 for us to take over. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Anyway, more Skulltaker to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold for the hour-long episodes. All glory to the algorithm. And don't forget to vote down below as to whether we should destroy Kairos or whether we should keep him around. He's already basically dead. Isn't there a gold mine here somewhere? I swear there's a... I feel like there's gold in the Southern Chaos Waste, and 3% upkeep reduction is going to be worth a lot of money. But anyway, I'm going to put it up to a vote, and then I'll do whatever you guys decide, because I don't care too much either way. Yeah, that's it. Glory, yada yada, Khorne.